Welcome to today's video. I do want to talk about why I think I'm just over extreme minimalism. I think extreme minimalism might just not be the right thing for me anymore, saying this after minimizing my life for 6 years and going more and more minimal in the process. And of course, after 6 years of experience with decluttering my life and being very intentional when it comes to bringing things into my life, I know that the motivation or the focus that minimalism gets in my life totally ebbs and flows. There's one time where I reassess all of my stuff and declutter everything, and then in other times I'm really thinking about other things, not my stuff, not minimalism at all. But lately, during the past few months, or even the last year, it has felt different. I think one part of it is just natural, what happens after decluttering your life for many, many years, that focus on decluttering and having less and less kind of goes away. And the other part is definitely also a mindset shift, or a shift that happened within me. And to make this video a bit more structured and make it easier for you to actually get something out of this video for your life, I'm gonna talk about 5 different points of why I'm over extreme minimalism and how I'm gonna change the definition or what I'm gonna do from here. So let's get started with number 1. I think I'm done with extreme minimalism because I'm really tired of trying to declutter more and more until we reach a border of where it doesn't go any lower. So I'm really over trying to have the minimal amount of stuff, always figuring out if it's possible to declutter one more piece. I'm over focusing so much on the number and trying to keep it low or getting it even lower. As an example, I have my knitting stuff. For the past few months, I've been thinking about opening up a knitting business actually. And for that business, I would need a lot of supplies, especially wool, and I would constantly kind of buy wool, make stuff, create new knitting pieces, and then sell them online, made in a very sustainable and ethical way. And I think that would be a perfect addition to my YouTube channel, to being self-employed, just a very different way of using my time, and I think it would bring me a lot of value. But what has been holding me back is the thought that I would add more stuff to my life, that my belongings could even double at a certain point in time. But I think I really want to let go of that because that doesn't help me. It's not like I'm adding clutter to my life. It's like I'm adding value. I'm adding something for a possible business, for something that's possibly gonna make me super happy. And if it doesn't, if it doesn't work out or if it doesn't make me happy, I can still also declutter it in the future. I think after 6 years of decluttering, I have reached that point where I have decluttered everything that I could. And I think decluttering is super important. Removing everything that is not important is the crucial first step. But then the second step is very important too, and that is building a life that you love. And I think for some people, maybe after decluttering, everything that's left is actually already a fulfilling life. But for me, there's definitely room for more. I sometimes need to add something. I sometimes need to try out something new. That might also be because I'm still very young. My life has changed a lot during the past years with moving abroad, studying, having a son that is now in school, and just all the changes that come with that. And so to conclude my first point on why I am over extreme minimalism, I think the whole decluttering and trying to get the number lower thing, I just don't think it has to be that much of a focus anymore. And when we talk about focus, I want to talk about my next point. I mean, if we talk about extreme minimalism, the term already suggests that we try to be extremely minimal with our stuff. And to be extreme in any part of your life, I think you have to devote a lot of time and energy towards that. And so my second point on why I'm over extreme minimalism is because extreme minimalism makes me focusing too much on stuff and makes it harder to actually live a fulfilling life. And my life goal is definitely not being a good minimalist, because I think what happens if we focus so much on the extreme minimalism part, on having the least amount of things possible, we lose the very thing that we hope to get from minimalism. Stuff should not take up as many thoughts and time and energy in our life. But if we start focusing too much on extreme minimalism, it does again. And then the third point is a very, very crucial one, and I think the one that actually made the most impact when it comes to kind of changing my mind and deciding to make this video. So a year ago, I made a similar video, but it was about defining my minimalist lifestyle, trying to define if I am an extreme minimalist or not. The reason why I wanted to have less for the past 6 years is just a certain craving. It was more so a coping mechanism than an actual desire, or it was just not reflecting reality. I don't know how to put it exactly, and just know I was totally fine the whole time, but still I just want to have the least amount of stuff possible, to be kind of as free as possible, to decide to travel, to move, to make things like that. Maybe also because we actually did move to Sweden for 6 months and then back. And we did move quite a few times in the past few years. And so I just wanted to prepare for that. I never wanted to face like a situation where I had to leave precious stuff behind. And so I'd rather declutter my things down to an amount where I could always have control over. I could take that amount around the world to a new place. It wouldn't keep me back. And I still totally understand that. But the reality is I'm going to be right here for the next few years. My son is in school. I won't move right now. And so there's no real point in living like a digital nomad if I'm not one right now, and if I'm not going to be one in the next few years. I still see the possibility in my future to move to another continent. I still see the possibility in my future to move again several times, or to go on like travel trips that take me to the end of the world or around the world, however you want to call it, for several months or even years. But I still think that doesn't mean that I cannot also have things right here that make my life better. And once that decision comes in 5, 10, 15 years, I can still like sell things again, store things somewhere, take everything with me, however the situation might be then. But I just realized over the last year that it's not likely that this is going to be happening so soon that would be a reason for me to not own things, or to try to own the least amount of things possible. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy only having a small amount of things. I still enjoy being in control of my stuff, not having an overwhelming amount of stuff. I'm still absolutely not going out and shop for sheer pleasure to accumulate things. There's not going to change anything really about my consumption habits, but the mindset has changed. Because again, I think minimalism should make your life easier. And if you live in a place for several years, but still have the stuff of a digital nomad, it's actually going to make your life harder because you don't have the things you need. So while it's nice to be able to pack everything in a backpack and go wherever you want in like 30 minutes, I don't think that's actually benefiting my life right now. My fourth point is something really important, but maybe to you it wouldn't be. And that is social media. I'm sharing my minimalism, part of my minimalism journey here online with you. And I have been doing that for 2 years now. And while, of course, I would hope that would not influence me in any way, it still kind of does. So I've said it many, many, many times. I want to be authentic. I want to be real with you. I want to share honestly how my life looks, what things I buy and get and declutter, mistakes I make, when I change my opinion and things like that. But it's kind of hard. So I don't know if you know, but on YouTube, the more extreme, the crazier, the better it clicks. So extreme minimalism naturally gets more views than minimalism usually. And so that is of course tempting. And so because I already had that small of a wardrobe, it was good to capitalize on that and to actually use that extreme minimalist wardrobe term to get more views. But now if I have like 4, 5, 6 sweaters, I cannot really say it's an extreme minimalist wardrobe anymore because I only actually need 3. And that kind of illustrates the whole thing around social media. So I want to try to just get rid of that extreme label. I can't promise I'll never use it again, but I want to be even more honest. And I want to allow myself to be more honest with myself. So I never lied to you and never did something behind your back and bought things secretly and didn't show them to you or anything like that. But I think for the past 2 years, I also always thought about justifying things that I buy in front of you. And that's not ideal. And the reason for that is the comments that I get sometimes. It's not the majority, it's like a small portion, but they're coming again and again and again of people saying I'm not extreme enough. People laughing at my extreme minimalist wardrobe and saying that they have a lot less, so I cannot be an extreme minimalist. The fight over what is extreme enough, what is even minimalist. But the reality is I can't be a good minimalist for everybody. Like, you have different definitions and ideas, and there is no better or worse when it comes to minimalism. There is just the right minimalism for me and the right for you, and I cannot live your minimalism and be happy and vice versa. So I think it does make sense to listen to these comments, but still they kind of influence me. And when a comment says like, you should be able to do with 1 pair of shoes, I'm like, could I? Should I? And so by making this video, I just also want to say that I try to listen to myself more than to you. Now that might sound bad for you, for all of you who always leave these nice comments or really think about it, maybe constructive criticism, that's always welcome as well. But I mean more so the people that come to my videos occasionally just to leave their opinion on something they don't know anything about. And I don't want that. For my life, in the end, I have to listen to myself. I have to make decisions based on what I think will add value to my life and not what I think can be justified as a minimalist online. And then the other part of being a minimalist online and living this lifestyle and making YouTube videos about it, it's actually making it harder because I also am interested in sustainable fashion and because I want to make this channel pay my bills. I do occasionally take on a sponsorship, which comes with stuff. For example, this sweater. I can link it down below for you. It's a 100% recycled merino wool sweater made ethically and sustainably in Europe by the Colorful Standard, and you have heard me talking about that brand before. But it's amazing, and they sent it to me for me to show it to you, but it is another item. I have now 1 more sweater. And of course I can always like get all these sweaters and declutter them again, but that's also not the reality I want. Being a minimalist online makes it harder to be a minimalist as soon as you take on sponsorships because you get sent stuff. I think you can understand that. But that also kind of leads me to not wanting to be an extreme minimalist online anymore, not wanting to use that label too much, because the only way to still be an extreme minimalist would mean to like take things, declutter other things, take things, declutter other things, and that kind of leads to a cycle that is even less sustainable than adding a few pieces and actually using all of them, depending of course on how you do it. But I just don't believe in having only 3 sweaters but changing them every 3 months because I get sent new sweaters. I hope you understand what I mean. And number 5, I still want to be a minimalist. I still definitely want to be a minimalist and use all the minimalist benefits that I experience in my life. I've been doing that for 6 years for a reason. Minimalism is amazing. It's a huge part of my life. It makes such a huge difference and it has changed my life for the better in so many ways. If you haven't checked out my last video, I'm also going to link it up here for you because it's about packing light for a weekend trip. And I think especially if we talk about this area, extreme minimalism makes sense. It makes so much sense when you go traveling to take the least amount possible, to actually give it some extra thought, to really think about if you need each individual item. Because while traveling, you carry your stuff on your back or you roll it next to you or you have to take it with you at least. And there, 1 item can make a huge difference and 10 items make just a gigantic difference. And so I think extreme minimalist and really thinking about each individual item, really focusing on the stuff, makes sense. It makes sense to keep the number low and to travel as light as possible, because it makes the experience much more enjoyable if your back doesn't hurt, if you don't have to stress about the different pieces of luggage you can't carry around with you. And that's the same for many other areas in life. I am, of course, gonna stay as minimalist as it makes sense in every area of my life. As I said before, I'm not gonna go on a shopping spree and just add everything that I see and think is nice to my life. I still enjoy very much a simple life. I'm still not gonna wear makeup every day and put a lot of jewelry on my body. I'm still not gonna have like a big wardrobe. I'm gonna stay with my one drawer. I still want to get rid of any like expectation that a label like extreme minimalism could put on the number of stuff I own. I just want to focus on having enough, having the right amount of stuff for my life. I want to focus on not having any excess stuff. I still want to focus very much on being intentional when it comes to bringing in things into my life. But I also want to be very intentional when it comes to spending my time and not spending my time focusing on trying to keep the number of items I own low. So thank you so much for watching this video. And for the next video, I suggest you watch this one that I did almost a year ago about extreme minimalism and defining a lifestyle, where you can just see where I'm coming from, where I have been at a year ago, and I think you will enjoy it. And I hope to see you right there. Bye!